Warning, this content may be disturbing to some audiences. Subscribe. If you dare.
They live in a McMansion and I was over once and we got to talking about fitness, and she told me, oh yeah, we sent Pamela to this special training gym, it's only $200 a week, you should try it. Hey everybody, welcome to ANECDOSED. People ask Reddit. What is the most severe case of someone being completely out of touch with reality you've ever seen?
Number 1.
I was at a bar and some guy was giving an impromptu lecture of why millennials are so broke and blamed it all on us being lazy students who don't want to work and go to school. When asked what he did, he was a property owner and owned a few apartment buildings. Then someone comes up with the fact he doesn't own any properties, he manages them for his uncle who pays him to do nothing all day.
Number 2.
My friend stole my card information and bought loads of expensive stuff. I asked her if it was her before reporting it, knowing that she was going through a tough time and I wanted to give her a chance to make it right and that I could be in trouble for conspiracy to fraud if I reported it, and they believed I'd got stuff delivered to my friend to claim fraud for the money back. She said no, I thought someone else had done it so I reported it. When she got arrested she said she didn't think they'd take the fraud thing so far. She thought you could just call up banks to get the money back and they wouldn't investigate.
Number 3.
I have an aunt who's never really worked a day in her life because her husband created his own business early on in life. They live in a McMansion and I was over once and we got to talking about fitness, and she told me, oh yeah, we sent Pamela to this special training gym, it's only $200 a week, you should try it. The fact that to her it was only $200 really kills me. I made $9.95 an hour at the time. She's nice enough but not in touch with reality at all.
Number 4.
Commenter. My boss is always totally disparaging of basically everyone who cares about money and bonuses over the company, and I really don't understand what planet that guy is living on. Person B. My company doesn't offer overtime, they say anything after hours is just part of the job. Then they wonder why stuff gets behind because nobody is willing to work after hours for no money.
Number 5.
Commenter. Had a friend who insisted she was in a relationship with a C-list celebrity whom she met once during a comic convention. All the celebrity's Instagram and Twitter posts were for her and everything had a meaning behind it. When the celebrity got married, she said that it was just for the media so she and the celebrity could live a quiet life. When he didn't do anything for her birthday, she had a breakdown. She went to therapy not long after. Person B. I knew someone who had similar delusions involving a boy that we barely knew when we were in high school. I thought she was joking or exaggerating at first, but she really thought everything at the school, from flyers on walls to morning announcements to songs playing at assemblies, was some kind of coded message from him to her. It was my first experience seeing a friend develop severe mental illness and very confusing for me. I believe she was eventually hospitalized and prescribed medication. She was a very nice person and a good friend, and I don't judge her for the harrowing experience she went through. The specific name for this kind of delusion is erotomania. Person C. I had a friend, living in London for a while. Went to see Tom Hiddleston perform in a play. Convinced he looked directly at her during the show. Okay cool, probably didn't but maybe he did. I've certainly convinced myself that X person made eye contact with me during concerts even though I know it's highly unlikely they even registered my face, but hey, a girl can dream, right? But then she went back to see the play again. And same thing. Apparently he looked over a couple of times. And that was it. He'd picked her out from the crowd and they were going to get married. She figured out where he lived, where his favorite cafe is, any reason to be near him or interact with him. To this day she still fully believes he was leading her on, ignored her, etc. It was really scary and I had truly no idea how to help her because to her it was all real, still is, just she barely talks about it anymore.
Number 6.
Commenter. My friend is 100% convinced that every stranger to follow him on Instagram is either A. madly in love with him from afar, or B. his ex-girlfriend who broke things off with him several years ago and hasn't spoken to him since. I've explained to him time and time again that people automate their accounts to follow and unfollow other people in hopes of growing their follower count. But he completely ignores me and always proceeds to rant that he can't imagine how they have found him, even though he follows hundreds of similar pages, and how sexy this person is. And how he's considering messaging them since they're clearly interested and just don't have the courage to speak up. He one time tried to convince me of a famous meme account with several million followers that followed him just had to be his ex-girlfriend who never looks at memes at all. He's only ever had one person actually contact him online for communication, and despite the girl telling him she doesn't want a relationship and just wants to be friends, He announced that he was in love with her after 2 weeks and told me they were in a long-distance relationship. Insane. Person B knew a girl that thought she was in with the Hollywood crowd because a few big names liked her Insta posts. Acted like they spoke all the time. The need to be special in this social media age is seriously gross.
Number 7.
Commenter. My cousin was spoiled and sheltered her entire childhood through college. Then her parents stupidly cut the leash without any preparation and released her into society. She quickly got in trouble for bouncing checks all over town. My mom picked her up and asked why the hell she was writing bad checks everywhere. Turns out my cousin was under the impression that as long as you had checks in your checkbook, you had money in your account. She didn't understand that you deposit in a number and then can spend or withdraw up to that amount. Please teach your kids basic finance. Person B. In middle school, we did a bridge building exercise where each group member had a job like builder, engineer, accountant. Anyways, anytime my group needed money to buy things, often, we went to the accountant to ask about what we had available. Each time we asked, we were told we had the money and we could make the purchase. Fast forward to the end of the project, it is revealed that each time we asked about money, they used the original starting balance. So OFC, anytime we ask about small sums, they say okay, we're good. We went 3x over budget. We're probably going to fail the project if I hadn't explained what happened to the teacher, and this person clearly had no idea how money worked.
Number 8.
This is my time to shine. So I grew up with a lot or restrictions that at the moment, had no idea the options existed. For example, I was only allowed 2 options of shoes, but the catch was that I needed to make the right choice. Or that I can make friends on my own, not needing to be told this is your new friend now so go play with them. Sadly, my dad kept me in a small box and he was the only one allowed to control what would go into that box or come out. So when I was 10, CPS was involved and was taken into foster care. That's when my world exploded. I didn't know really how bad it was until they took me to a shoe store and told me to pick out ones I liked. I swear for the life of me I had no clue what to do. I stood there for what felt was hours until they noticed and asked what my favorite color was. I said green because that was what my father told me I liked. But I guess I was too overwhelmed that I just remember saying yes to everything and ended up with ugly brown and pink sneakers. What children learn to do at their normal age is what I am just figuring it out in my 20s. So reality was a hard thing to live because the whole time I was in my dream world.
Number 9.
I had a neighbor once that was convinced I was flirting with him and wanted to be with him. He got all of this from the one-word verbal exchange we would have while getting our mail, which was basically saying hi. Keep in mind that at the time I was a minor in high school and he was probably well into his 20s. He proceeded to harass and stalk me. Examples: messaging me on Facebook declaring his love for me and feeling wrong because I was playing hard to get. He would knock at our house door when he knew my parents weren't home and tried to lure me out so that he could just talk to me. Searched me up on all my social media accounts and tried to contact me. He used my last name from our mailbox and searched for me. It did not help that we lived in the same building. I got so scared that I could no longer go outside for a run like I usually did. I filed a police report and his family asked mine to please forgive his son. This completely freaked me out and my family decided to move. I had just turned 16 and the guy was probably 25 to 26-year-olds at the time this happened.
Number 10.
Commenter. My old boss at the time was a girl of 26 who got $4 million from her mom a year to play with. Her mom is very wealthy in China. Her daughter is here trying to be a CEO of a company for funsies. I accidentally got a job at that company. One day she told us we were all going on a group outing for bonding. She took us to an outlet mall 4 hours away. Told the rest of us 7 people that she was going to go shop and she'd see us later. That was code for don't follow me FRs. Every 2 hours she'd let us know she was going to go unload her bags to the giant van they rented, and would group text us telling us we can meet her there to unload as well. We all get paid under $50K. We have nothing to unload. By lunch she had proceeded to fill up the van with shit. She then asked me where all my new stuff is and I said I'm budgeting right now. She goes take out a credit card and go shop. That's the American way. Seriously. Okay. By 9 p.m. her bags were taking up people's seats and they had to sit with her stuff. She spent $30K. The rest of us spent about $70. We were tired and bored and cold. To this day I still believe she thinks she did something nice for us, and doesn't understand how polarizing and not at all team bonding that was. Person B. After a certain income, People just lose their effing minds about normal human interaction and expectations. Your crazy rich boss story reminded me of a mandatory department meeting my old team had to attend. It was 3 hours and consisted of the upper management and sales leaders talking about how awesome it was when they were all flown to Hawaii to stay at the company owner's private resort. And then how awesome it was to be flown to Alaska to ice fish at the company owner's private reserve. Why? One guy came back with $2,000 worth of vacuum-sealed salmon. Great times, huh? Nobody cared that my department wasn't involved in sales in any way, that we were actively screwing the rest of the national departments by being dragged off the phones for 3 hours, and that all of us made just over minimum wage. When we complained to our supervisor, the upper management told him we were ungrateful for the opportunity to be inspired and uplifted by the possibilities in the company. Person C. I had a boss who said she couldn't imagine not traveling back home for Thanksgiving holidays. She said this to our unpaid intern who lived in Washington State. We are located in GA. The intern looked a little dumbfounded and embarrassed, so I jumped in and said that I never went home for Thanksgiving when I was in school either. BC, you only get 4 days off and it's not worth the cost of airfare. And my boss's response, just get your parents to pay for it. I too was dumbfounded that she still didn't understand that some people just don't have that kind of money. She also said stuff like, I cannot imagine not traveling out of the country at least once a year. Make sure to share your personal story in the comments below and have the opportunity to be featured in a future video. Also, if you like these topics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to continue seeing more content like this every day. See you next time.